Hello everyone, this is Jurgita with Magic Pan Crafts, and today is January 1st, 2021, and what you see in front of you is the very first start of this year. For this video, this was a free pattern by designer Anayake. She speaks in Russian, and she has also a YouTube channel there, and like a Facebook type website where there's Russian speaking groups, and she posted this pattern in PDF and Saga versions. And I was waiting for today to start this project. I had everything ready. The size of this pattern is pretty big, 700 by 580, 166 stitches, and only pure color is going to be 25. The rest of it is going to be blends out of that. And she also gave the sizes in centimeters on a different type of fabric, but I'll be stitching on a 25 count, and that's the size of the pattern in inches what I calculated. And it's gonna be my first time trying out this Luca-S fabric 25 count. It's very similar to Congress fabric cloth, just a tiny bit softer, but not a lot. But it has big holes also to see. This pre-marked fabric supposed to wash out. It might need to sit for a tiny bit longer, but apparently it washes out everything well. Also, I made yesterday a homemade frame, and I hooked it up to my Amour stand, a metal Amour stand. It moves tiny bit, but because it's a pretty big size stitchy frame for me, but it's like drum tight. I don't want to shake it up too much, so that's where I'm gonna start. And I'm gonna be using this for a lot of different three language groups to stitch, because I'm playing all kinds of different games. And also my first time gonna be trying these SHAED threads. I've never tried it. I don't know if it's exactly called SHAED or CXC, but it's synthetic threads. I have these for several projects ordered. I have them all also pre-cut here with the meter length, but for blends I can easily snap one in half, cut one in half, and do the blends. So I compared some of them, and only a few so far that I found that you can tell a slight variation difference, well, tiny bit more than slight. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Might do actually like DMC switch, because it was more closer, one a blue color and one like a skin color that was slightly more different. And as we know, the faces, it's better to stitch with the DMC than try out some kind of weird different colors. But I don't know, it's still far away from me to go, since I'm starting at the very corner. And once I get closer, then I'm gonna check it out again. So I have not put a bunch of needles on them yet, so I'll organize as I go, because in the beginning it's not going to be a lot of colors. In here, as you see, I have a pattern already waiting on my tablet. That's what it will look as a stitch itself. So when you zoom in the lady's face, it does look pixelated, because it's going to be very big picture, but it's on a very small fabric, so it's going to be that. I have near me where I'm gonna be throwing orts. It's all emptied out from last year, so it's totally empty and waiting for me to start filling it up. So that's where I'm starting this new year, and let's wish ourselves good health and enough time to stitch all that we want to stitch. And it's the next day evening already, around the dinner time, and I stopped stitching, and then I looked back from up close and I noticed, doesn't this guys kind of remind you of a face like, I don't know, Lincoln or any other guy's face, like maybe with a little bit pointy hat or something. Just I was just stitching, minding my way, and I finished my threads, and I thought maybe I should stop to eat dinner, and then I pulled back, and it's because my left hand is on this side, so I don't see all of that, and that's what popped out, and even there's like looks like tiny bit space that I need to move the thread over like in the eye section, but it just made me laugh. I thought I could share that with you. So anyway, my first impressions on these CXC or SHS threads. They're not as fluffy as I thought. I even tried to stitch with the whole meter length of it, and I couldn't see a big difference during the stitches. Like these are mixed like meter, a couple meter, and others are like from a 50 meter leftover. I mean, half a meter left over, not 50 meter. And as you can see, they're starting to sort of fray towards these ends. That's why I left that long. Sometimes with DMC, I try to go with the very short needle as much as possible until I see like a fraying part. But the coverage is very good with these threads. Although it does look like in this part is might be too much, but I think it's because there are blends in here, and some of the blends I did not expect. So you can kind of see, looks like, like a light burgundy, very light burgundy color with the gray, and actually this part is just the one color, so it kind of stands out more like a facial expression, like this kind of thing. So yeah, with Continental Stitch, it's the coverage is much better. I did not have yet like a fully black color in here, because majority in the backgrounds are with the gray things. Plus, what I noticed with this fabric, I can figure out without marking now the way to go, because seems like the yellow line takes like a two threads horizontal. You can see a bit better. So I know that top, for example, is the number 10, and in this square, and the bottom one would be number 1, and same in here. So I kind of look where the middle of the yellow color is, and this is like the 10th stitch, and this is first stitch, and the next one. So kind of looking into that, and as you can see, I'm doing a very tiny like a pin stitch ending before I'm pulling out the thread, just to make sure that it does not unravel. So yeah, I marked only up to this point, and according to program, I've stitched 3,555 stitches. I stopped and then I looked at the number. So so that's what interesting number I stopped. So further away you can kind of see this line in here, but it's going to be all kinds of different lines because it's just a plain background. Also, I wanted to show you what Saga program can do. So I've listed, these are called, sorry for the light, these are called like a sprints, and I can start many of them, and it's not gonna stop until I stop them. So for example, Magical School is I'm doing that for a weekend, and outrageous. So all of them are gonna show me now the same number, but I can start anytime. And full coverage fanatics, I have one, and another full coverage in here, so I can always do the sprint. Also like this calendar, it shows me how many days I've stitched and how many stitches. The only thing is, once it hits a midnight, it starts a new day. So since I like to stay past midnight, it's already would be counting for me in the next day instead of that one. So I don't always know how much is that day exactly, unless I kind of subtract or do the new sprint, like for example for that day. And this is what it usually tells you, what's the total and how much I've done so far out of that. And as you can see, it's getting closer to 1%. Well, I know I passed 3/4 of the percent done. So yeah, so I just leave my sprint here, and when I'm done, at least that's how I was doing with the saga for last year, when I had to take a pictures of all the events and tell how much I've done. So then once I've done, put in, I just delete that, and if I need to, I can restart new one. So that's that, and this is what it looks like. Very, very small portion in here at the very corner. And it's gonna be lots of, again, variations. You can kind of tell mixing up of some of the patterns and colors. So that's where I'm going. I think I'm gonna stitch a little bit more, and then I might be done. So when you stitch half stitches or continental my way, the thing goes pretty fast, especially since I didn't have a lot of confetti in here. So I'm curious to see how these threads gonna work in the confetti area, which is gonna be closer to the girl itself, not the background. But so far, I'm feeling still happy with these threads. I don't see anything very bad in them. They feel smooth and silky, and I don't think I can see any fluffs in there. Can you see any fluffs? I don't see anything either. So that's what I have right now, and of course when I'm done, then I'll show you before I go to the next whip. And here are 2 days past, 5,042 stitches, and as you can see, the corner of that is done, and it's mainly just like this little area, and I'm about the 1.2% of this whole picture finished, so that's exciting. Of course, there was nothing very interesting to see, but at first I thought that this part was one color, but actually it's two very close to each other colors, so it was blend all of that area. So this is what it looks like, first 5,000 stitches of this. And I'm gonna set this aside to work on something else, and that will be my heaven and earth design called What's This? And as you can see, lion is kind of peeking from the bottom of my frame, and this is where I'm gonna start this year of this piece, and from this area, and it's mainly gonna be a lot of similar sky, and you can see crying shining a little bit. And again, this is on 16 count Aida, and I'm stitching with 2 threads over 1. So this is my start. Well, it's already Wednesday, so it's a 4th day of stitching this project, and I can tell you that I didn't know how long I would be able to stitch it, but so far so good. But I might stop today for a bit to stitch on a different project, because for a magical school I want to do this week's different projects for different things to match. But I'll show you what I've done so far. So this is what you see. Only you can recognize like where I'm writing numbers and like overall where it was ending. So yeah, so it's a good chunk it's done, and I can tell you that I've been done stitching quite a bit since the first, but I'm stitching this for a lot of different countings, so I'm so glad that I was able to have this pattern converted into saga format, because look, I'm gonna show you why. Pardon me for the light. So we can on a saga. You can do sprints. So you start a new sprint and it counts until you stop it or delete it. So I'm in the 3 different languages in the different stitching groups. So I'm writing for all of them, like they have a code words, and I have to stitch like I'm writing the name of the game part and how many I need to stitch, and it starts counting. Like this is for magic wars and stitch wars. Myth and Magic Stitch Wars, I think that's what it's called. So we have a little thing going on. Then the full coverage, like I'm doing for a bookshelf, Magical School, I'm doing for the cabin, and it continues. There's a Russian, there's the game happening that you have to stitch one piece for 10 days. Then full coverage, also you can do like a double thing for around Iceland. So you can see how much I'm hoping to do. So that can last a whole year and it's still going. Another one that we had to type in, and it's also for a week, Lithuanian group. So this is how much I've already done in those 3.5 days. And there's another Russian group that 2000 minimum, and I'm just keep tracking. So see how many sprints I've done on one work, and you can see progress and how many total stitches done. And that's only for sprint, but if you click on a calendar, it tells you how many days. Let's see, in January, for example, it calculates how many days in January. If you unclick rest of the days, it's just once it clicks after midnight, then it moves to the next day. So it's not always exact amount. Like if I stay till 2 in the morning, so those 2 hours past midnight will be counting as the next day. So for example, it's already counted from yesterday into this day a bit. But this is how it is, and I'm still gonna be stitching today. And once I grab something else for my magical school weekly little thing, I'm gonna show you then. But so far it's still fun to stitch. I'm listening to other Flosstubers or some book in those days, and that's how it's working out. Well, it's the evening of the 6th, and I've decided to stop my lion for a little bit so I can do my weekly homework for magical stitches. So what you see in front of you is fairly well known if you've seen my previous videos, and it's called, well, and I'm starting from 79.46% on this. And as you can see, there's just small parts still left to do. Well, not that much small. So this is the lady that is right here to start it, and this whole area is still left. So this is where I'm starting this year's summer ball, and my goal is to get very close to the finish, if not finish this. So as you can see, there's still some of the skin on this lady is not done, this guy is still not done, and her is not done. And then it's going to be back stitching and possibly even some more French knots in this. But this is my starting point, and I have to have at least 200 stitches in few of those homework problems to do. So I'm gonna get cracking, and when I'm done, probably all of them, hopefully sometime tomorrow, I'll show you the result. And here we are on the 8th, and by program it says that I stitched just over 1000 stitches. So as you can see, it mainly greeneries filled in, and this curtain part, because I needed to quickly stitch, that's why I did not play around with the skin tones, because I needed to put more stitch count than I was planning to. And you know, in like 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yes, 4 days, 2400 stitches. So that's besides the one I'm using for main challenge in different group, where we have to stitch on one piece, so that's a lot of work for me to put in the 4 days. So that's why I'm concentrated on mostly just a few colors of the green part of the curtain. As you can see, her dress is almost fully filled in, and that's what it looks like right now. So after that, I was kind of going back and forth with what I needed to stitch, like 600 on my lion. I'll show you that for a little bit, and then now I'm gonna start also on something else. So let's go to lion first. And here we are. So I'm very happy right now. Since the 1st of January, I put in over 5,000 stitches. So started like from where was the 80 part in here, and continuing filling in by like 1,500 stitches at a time. So what you see is I think it's mainly one color left now to fill in. It varies, as you can see. Some places have more bluish colors, some have more purplish, different shades, but this is what it looks like. And since it's 350 wide by stitch count, so I've passed the first row half point, and I'm gonna keep going on that first row. And as you can see, my second row is about to end with the stitching, so there's a couple of things like hanging right here, but I'm just gonna continue, I think, mainly with the excuse me, first row, and some parking I might do on the bottom, like you see a couple threads in here. But I'll need to come back to this again because I have to stitch at first one group for 1 week. I have to stitch only in one project and show results. Another group 10 days to stitch. So I was trying to use this, and I could only like 1 or 2 parts of this week's magical school homework, and that's why I was going back to my summer ball to do all those 200 stitches for each part of that homework. So now let's go what I'm gonna stitch right now. And this is what I'm grabbing. If you remember through my whip parade, that I'm not planning to put a lot of stitches in this work, but I guess it's good that I'm doing in the first part of the year some of that put in, and I need at least 200 so I can finish. That's about the vegetation and fruit veggies kind of what was I can't even remember now. Goddess Hera, I believe. So one of those goddesses that connected to that. So as you can see, there's fruit, which is strawberries, some still blooming, some already have a fruit on it. So I'm gonna stitch that, and I'm probably gonna just grab a color and go as much as possible with it to finish off. Somewhere I lost my markings for which color, so I kind of have to follow the pattern and thread card to see how to put where, but I have to reorganize all my whips, I guess. So this is where I'm starting, and I'll add about 200. And we are already in Saturday, so yesterday I added 221 stitches in Etude with strawberries, so you kind of already see a little bit extension of the greenery in here for leaves, and been filling in. There's a couple like stitches here like spread out and tiny bit in this side and that, and filled in a bit of the like a pinkish colors for the berries. And I had it set aside, added a couple hundred in my lion. I'll show you next time. It's not much to recognize. And today I'm gonna be picking up this well-known piece if you've seen my videos, and it's my George project. That's if you're first time here, you'll see that I'll be working on this piece quite a lot this year. My goal is to finish, this is row 7, so finish this row 7, 8, and hopefully 9 by the end of this year. So the 10th row would be just a tiny bit left, and this is what the whole picture is gonna look like. And my piece is just like maybe this much of the piece of sky. So Of course, the colors are not exactly same as here, but you can see that more darkness on the top, and I might get a little bit more brighter color on the bottom. And there's a website and a Facebook public group for those who want to follow this. And there's quite a few Flosstubers also doing this piece, so they have a different parts. But my part is a sky, which is just a big blob of these colors. So as you can see, it's just slight variations. Like in here, you can see a little bit more, that more grayish filled in here. So this is page 66. That's where I finished year 2020. And I actually have done like a page in one day, and I would not recommend for a lot of people to do that. It was hard even for me to stick on this, and it did not even have a lot of colors in that sections, but it was very hard to do a whole page, which is almost 2,500 stitches in a day. So I rested enough from this, I think, and I need to use this for my this week's homework, which ends tomorrow. So I have to do a couple sections of 200 stitches. So what I usually do is I take like a column and I spread out, like you can see my park threads. So I'm gonna start these threads and go and just fill out like column by column with the torn off edges. And I just gonna keep going that. So I have a 7th, 8th, and 9th full pages and a partial 10th page left in here. And my goal in this year is, you see this red line is a halfway point on row. So I want to finish like half of the row within 2 months, sooner if possible. So I'm already in it a little bit more, but I'm gonna try to put in as much as I can in this work. So that's where I'm starting right now, and we'll meet again in a second with some stitches added. And good morning on the Monday the 11th, so 1/11 and 21, and it's Monday. So I'm so happy, just finished it this morning, and I finished the page 67. So this is what the row of 7 pages look like. Compare like to my hand, right? It's long, and you can tell where I marked it. I marked the page beginning, and this is end. So it's about 4 full columns fit in one page. And from here you can see 1 and 2. So this is what it's left so far. So since my goal is about 2.5 pages a month, and I was already 1 page over, so I'm still gonna try to get 2.5 pages a month. It's 3 left, so maybe I'll be able to squeeze in all those stitches in the month of January, even though it's like 1/3 is gone. But I'm using this for many different groups and challenges and games. And yes, well, technically still today, started magic, let me see the name. It's a Myth and Magic Stitch Wars around 11, and it started midnight England time, so for us it was still evening, and I managed to stitch one of the ingredients, and I'm almost done with the second one for different battles and rejuvenation spells and attack spells. Like a rule is like 6 pages, rules, explanations, and how many stitches is for what ingredient and all those other things. So it's a pretty cool game. So far I'm really enjoying it. We're chatting with the team members on Messenger, trying to figure out who's gonna stitch what. And it's, I think, out of the team, only 2 of us that live in US, and the other 3 are in England. So I decided to stitch George, since it also helps me to put in some homework parts for this week also in Magical School of Stitches and Literature. and I'm using that for full coverage fanatics and like 21 and 21 bookshelf monthly challenge, and there's something else like around Iceland trip, and also like at least 2 Lithuanian groups on a Facebook that we're playing game as a teams also to stitch certain amount of stitches or as many stitches as possible. So this George is really helping me out in a lot of different groups, but it's also a little pressure, and I start to get more competitive, and even with myself for this at least piece. So that's what I'm gonna be continuing to work, maybe a few more days I would imagine, until I finish homework on magical school, because we have to spell out this week words demigod, and George fits in at least half of those for the items we have to find in that picture. So I'm using this for that, and then I'll have to figure out, because I need to start stitching my monthly dragon ornament, because I have to finish by the end of the month. And yeah, so we'll see what else it brings, but so far I'm still gonna continue on this one. So don't go anywhere. In a second you'll see what I added. Welcome back on Tuesday morning, well, late morning, and see how little it's left to do on the page. It's so exciting. I'm already in the 68th page, but I pushed myself again pretty hard yesterday, and I've decided today I'm gonna grab something else, because I've used George for some other challenges. I finished all of my this week's homework for magical school, and added in other challenges quite a bit of stitches. So I'm gonna grab something else today, sort of like a breather, also from those colors, and monotonous stitching like that. So let's see what I've picked. And I picked this guy. So what you see is pretty much what the stitches will look like before back stitching. That is my January dragon ornament. So that's how it looks when you click on the view. So it's some kind of weird looking shape, right? So you sort of can tell that this is a head, and like somewhere here is a wing, and like maybe tail. That's perhaps a pillow. So January, it's like a sleeping after New Year's celebration, and so the stitches are looking like that. So again, I'm stitching it on let's move over here on a 32 count antique white. So as you can see, there's a December peeking out, because I couldn't just cut out the small portion. It's hard to set it in the frame, and since it's already 12 and I have to finish all that stitching, turn in, and then get back stitching pattern and finish that by the end of the month, I figured I might as well start. So you see the colors here. I can't believe that I'm short of one color. I have all the colors in the palette of DMC, some of them more than one or even more than 3. And somehow one color, I guess it was popular or not much used, one of those two. But these are the color palette shades, and there's gonna be dark sky and orange, yellowish color dragon. So I'm gonna start that, and I know that just the stitching is almost 3,600. So I need to get cracking on that, and I have to again remember for which groups I'm stitching, how many stitches, and put all those code words on the paper, and I take a picture. So that takes a few minutes for that. But this is what I'm starting, and we'll meet a little bit later to see how it's going. Well guys, I started to record the video to show how much I've done, and look at the time. It's 1:14 on 1:14:21. So let's see what I wanted to show you at that time. And I wanted to show you how much I've done on my dragon. of January. So as you can see, it has all that framed up already, and just slowly filling in. I guess this would be the pillow shape in here. Dragon is practically all done, just like a couple of stitches here and somewhere else left, and then it's gonna be this part in one color. And I still need to run to the store to finish filling in the trees with that color, but I wasn't able to go, and I'm sure I still have plenty of time for that. So according to the pattern program, it shows that I have practically 77% of just the stitching done. And in one of the games for stitching, we have a new project to work on. It started, so I have to set this one aside and grab something else, and I'll show you in a second. And that one would be my Lithuanian painters composers piece. I call it Two Kings, or I think original name is King's Fairy Tales. And I've started it last year on death anniversary of a painter. And this is going to be my first time starting this year in 2021. So let's move this a little bit down and I'll show you. I actually managed to finish my first row at the very end of December of last year. So it was very exciting. So I had a whole row done. In beginning, I did not work a lot on this whip. I was concentrating on other things, and then I got like a second wind on all of those many color patterns, and I really wanted to continue working in that, especially when I do it in the, like, I take an area. For example, I finished an area like 1,500 stitches approximately, and I started to fill in this. So you can see the whole picture versus like would be scattered colors throughout. And this one, I look from further away, it looks like some freaky woman's face, maybe, you know, with the eye, little nose, and the mouth here, and the chin. But it's not. It's actually, if you can look in the picture, it's this light in between one of the kings and the trees. You can see a background with, I guess, the clouds, and you can tell where the line ends, because that is the crown of this one king. So just with some hair, and this is where it ends, and you can see a little bit of the crown of this king. And if that's how the picture is gonna look, so next one is gonna be maybe around here. I haven't looked what it looks like, but it's gonna be amazing, I'm sure, in more light colors. And I don't know how much of the confetti I'm gonna get in these outfits and the hair, but we'll see. I'm very eager to see how it's gonna turn out. And if you remember, my goal for this piece is a minimum 2,000 stitches a month. So I have to work on that each month for one of the games. And that should move this piece along quite well. And as a reminder, I'm stitching it on 18th count, just a cream colored, I believe, or ivory. Was it Ada? Yes, Ada, with 2 DMC threads over 1 full stitch. So it's not as fast as would be half stitch or continental stitch, I should say, like I'm doing one piece, but it's really filling up all those spaces well. So this is where I'm gonna start right now, and you should see how bad it is for me to count for all kinds of different games that I've signed up for this year. So I'll show you a glance at that. Here, I think I put in all my counting areas. So like there's one, what's it called, SP, or would be Sal, then another one Sal, then those were in Russian groups, then Magical School, outrageous. I'm counting this. Full coverage 21 and 21. I have this piece included. Then full coverage I'm doing around Iceland, from certain leg I'm doing it. And so far it started another Russian counting, but that's like you have to send the pictures every few days with different code word written on a paper. And since I finished my this week's homework in magical stitches, I don't have anything to stitch. I would have been picked on that. And I'm probably gonna have also in Lithuanian groups that couple of them that were playing in a team. So I might have to use this in there too. So that's gonna be also longer. But at least that's how I can count, and it counts stitches that shows like a play. All those play buttons shows that it's counting all of them at the same time and different ones, so that will be great to see. And also, if I don't stop when I stop stitching, it would tell me how fast I can stitch an hour. And as you can see, I'm starting this year with 22.72%, and that's what the total stitches are done out of what's the total in this whip supposed to be. So that's area I pulled, since there's like a couple loose ones here, but I took like a 3 by 5 little squares, and this is where I'm gonna be working. As you can see, there's some filled in parts, so that would be in this rouge color, I guess, or pink color. And I'm just gonna continue that area. Still need to mark a little bit more with my special marker, and we'll meet again soon, and we'll see how much I've done. Well, hello, good morning, and today is the 17th afternoon, and I come back with my Two Kings piece whip that I wanted to show you how much, a lot that I've done in the last few days that I've been stitching on it. So if you remember, I started January with the new row, and look how much I already have gotten. So it's what, 80 by 50, so 4,000 stitches I've done in this piece. And it's good that I've been using it for a lot of different games, and that I was able to stitch practically all day, of course with some breaks, you know, for meals, to go out and do stuff, spend a little bit of time with the family. And even with all that, I think I managed to do a lot of stitching. I'm very pleased with myself, and this is where I stopped. So if you look at the picture, it's about like right here. So the next time I'm gonna start on this piece, it's gonna be very interesting because I'll be able to see the face of this king. So I'm very eager to see how it's gonna turn out. And I didn't know what this part is gonna look. I try not to look at the picture when I'm stitching. I knew that the king is gonna be here, but like what it's gonna look like with all those changing colors and spots and curves like here. And I didn't know what to expect of this thing in the background, what it was. It's like a hill, not a hill. It's hard to tell, and it's what's like here, you know, what kind of type of item is there. Is that like a mini lake or something with the boat? Who knows, right? Only composer, painter probably knew all that. So it's a Sunday, the 17th, like I said, and I'm actually gonna start a different piece because I think this had enough of love from me right now, even though it's very hard to part, but I wanna put in more stitches in a different piece. And I use this also for what's that, myth and magic and myth stitch force or something. And we've been doing like a battle scene, so I was stitching as much as possible in this for those ingredients to create spells. So I think I did my part with this piece, so I'll show you in a second what I'm gonna grab next. And the next one I've decided to grab is again coming back this January. Seems like it's been like what, a week since I had this. It's by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's called What's This, or as they call it, the Lion. And right now I'm just trying to work all the way across the top row, so most of that is still gonna be this sky kind of spots, of course some cryonic in there and the snowflakes. So as you can see, it's kind of peeking out, and there's still some way to go, maybe about here. So that's what I'm gonna be grabbing for. And since it's gonna be a gift to my son, I want to stitch more on that. Plus I have to use the whips in the next 8 days, whips that are full coverage and has many colors, so I cannot use for example George for this. So that's what I'm gonna decided to do. And this is, let's see, this is a 200 marking, and I'm a little bit past that, and as you can see it stops all extras there. So I think the row is about like here, that I have 5 down, and I usually go like 3 in the side, so about 1500 or so, or it could be up minimum. I think I take like 1000. So this is where I'm gonna start right now. Well, that was intense, exciting, and lost quite a bit of sleep in the whole week that I'm coming back to you later. So today is, I believe, 24th already of January, and I'm very happy with the results. I haven't filmed in a whole week, but all that time was every like a second seems like that I had free, I was using for stitching. So in the Myth and Magic Stitch Wars battles, half of the clans already got beat, and they became villagers. So some of those ex clans now putting out their wrath back on all those leftover clans, especially the ones that who thanks to they lost, and some of them I knew. So yeah, it was intense, and seems like I was stitching every possible second. Didn't get a lot of sleep, but I was very happy with the results, and you can tell probably why. So I'm gonna be zooming out, and wow, guys. So remember just a second ago you saw like I'm starting here, so that was one row. So I finished the whole first row, and I finished the rest of the second row that was like from this area. So 2 rows done of the whole thing. So now I pretty much am done with most of the sky. As you can see in the picture, this part is practically over already. I think it's just going to be a very tiny corner that's going to be any blues, and then we're going to have more solid blue colors without much of the like a lavender that was in here. So it's going to be some on the sides, but the first 2 rows are done. So now I'm gonna have to unroll this and set it up for the next time, whatever it's gonna be, sometime in the February. Whew, that was a lot. So from, if I remember correctly, from beginning of January, I was like around the 80 here mark on this row. So that's a lot of stitching. I think in the, let's see, in the full coverage, I had this for my 21 and 21. One of the 3 works that I had planned to do 21,000 stitches, and I think I reached 21 in January with this piece. But thanks to different games, like I said, I was stitching mostly only on this in the whole week because I couldn't switch to something smaller or not with a lot of colors. In one of the Russian groups, there was a game where we were posting pictures for a whole week every day with screenshots of in the program Cross Stitch Saga how much we've done, and pictures of this. So in that game I still need to look because it just ended last night, and I need to see if which place I placed in. Sort of also we were grouped depending on how many stitches we've done in the first 10 days of the game. And I might have gotten like a gift certificate from those designers, and we'll see if I will play another game, and maybe that way I can get the free pattern from them. And because I had never tried their designs yet, so it will be interesting to see. But I think I'm gonna set this this beauty aside, this magnificent lion, and I'm gonna pick something totally different today, and I'll show you in a second. And this is what I need to work on because I don't have a lot of time left, and I need to finish my full excuse me, full stitching on this piece so I can send the picture to designer and get a pattern for a back stitching, and I have to do all of that before the end of the month. So luckily I have now time to move over to this one versus work on something big again. And I think that's only one color in here left, so that should be done today, and hopefully by tomorrow I'll have the back stitching design part ready for me, and then I can finish this up. So this is what I'm gonna be concentrating, and probably from the speed of my voice you can tell how excited I am, proud of myself for doing so much on my line. I did not expect, I did not plan to do that much on it right away, especially first month, and my family was very supportive of this. They did not interfere a lot because I like to challenge myself, and of course they like to see also how it progresses, this beauty. So sometimes it's not easy to juggle a family and a hobby like this, but I was able to stitch most of the days in it, and yeah, so you can tell, hopefully you can tell by my voice how excited I am to see so much done already, and I can't wait to see how the rest of his like ear and area is gonna turn out. Of course, in here there was way more confetti than, for example, in the sky, but yeah, so I'm gonna work on my dragon, and you're probably gonna see it done in a second. And it's later that same evening, and as you can see I just finished my filling in. So that was total just a few stitches over 400. So I already sent in a picture to designer, and I'm waiting for the backstitch pattern arrive. I don't know when it's gonna happen, so meanwhile I figured I might as well, while I have time, I'm gonna grab something else to stitch. So I actually grabbed something new this year that I have not touched, and it's this pattern by Astra, and it's called the Spoiled Child. Let me move it like up here. Oh, keep sliding. So my Spoiled Child was by French painter, and I saw the picture and I fell in love, and I asked Astra to make a pattern out of it, and she graciously accepted, and now actually I think you can get it also on her website. So I've started it last year. Well, not last year, it's actually January 31st, 2019. And for a while I had it set aside and haven't stitched a lot. But this is what I have right now. It's 450 by 514 stitch count, 48 colors total, and 105 blends including them. So I'm stitching on 18 count Aida. And as you can see, I did like a big groupings in that done, and then I started marking. But I already passed the halfway mark on the first row, and as you can see, the colors are again kind of dreary, dark, and only thing you can see is kind of here, and the rest of it is just like a wall, as you can see, like this area. So later on, I'm gonna see this armoire showing up, and it's gonna keep going and going and going until like 3 inches off this side. So that's where I'm gonna start this year, and my goal is gonna be to stitch at least 1,000 stitches a month minimum. So that's my personal challenge. Is probably need to tighten a little bit more. And this is where I'm starting right now, from this point. And again, I'm including this in different games so I can move this whip along. And I can't wait to see when the face is starting to show up. It's going to be much lighter colors, and not going to be such a darkness in here, because I have way too many dark patterns, I think, at least for now. So this is where I'm starting, and we'll meet in a second with some stitches added. Well, it's the morning of the 25th, and just finished up this morning the very ends of my part, which I had about 1,500 with a little bit stitched. So 1, 2, 3. So this is all done, and actually I decided to move on from this since I needed minimum 1,000, and I want to show you how it looks like on the pattern. You can kind of start to see something brownish in here, and when I looked at the pattern, this is cross stitch saga, sorry for the light. So this is what actual stitching would look like. You can tell that this is a corner of the wardrobe in here. So that's exciting. I already stitched. So all of these red dots are the parking threads, so you can tell where I am right now, and there's some kind of thing in here that you can kind of see this line, bluish bluish threads. So this is what it looks like, and it's gonna be more lighter colors in this part, and it's gonna continue going like that, and again it's gonna be bleaching out in this part. So we're reaching something different besides that, and that's what the lid is gonna look like. So as you can see, you can tell how much is one column in here is. So there's the next one is still gonna be kind of just a brownish stuff, but something more to see. So that's where I'm gonna be leaving this month, which left only 1 week, and I'm gonna go back to my George. So this is what it's left of this 7th row, and I'm gonna concentrate, I think, on that to finish off before the end of this month. And I have a whole week, so I'm hoping to minimum to do is this, plus maybe start the next row. So wish me luck, and I'll see you in a second. Well guys, for you it's second pass. For me it's what, about a week, since today is February 1st, and I can tell you that I've really worked hard on this. And as you can see, my 7th row is finished, and wow, look at that, over 4 pages on the 8th row done. So that's 4 pages and a tiny bit. I started on the 5th, so I've been at it the whole time, working like crazy. Of course, I had used this for some races and games, and of course in my magical stitch wars I've been using this whip too. So it's, as you can see, I'm reaching again my half point on the 8th row, and I think it's in February might get some more rest, so we'll see. But I have not counted for this much to have done, and Of course, it's not 100 different colors in here, so that's helpful too. So that's what I've done up to this point, and that's where I'm gonna be starting my February stitching on the 8th row. So as you can see, I went all the way down. I did not need to roll up again my frame, but after this row, I'm gonna be rolling one more time, so it will fit in 9th row and what's left of the 10th. So that's very, very cool. Also, while I was stitching this, I had to finish off my monthly dragon ornaments. And since I got my back stitching pattern, I'm gonna show you what I've done. So it was not a lot of back stitching to do. So you can see how cute he is right now, or maybe it's a she. And there's, of course, some French knots done in some spots in here throughout the sky. And the back stitching was with one color and stitch with one or two threads. You can kind of tell. At first I thought this part is like a, I missed the stitch, but it was like had to be done like that. You see little breaks in here and there, but that's what is finished. And I think since today is February 1st, we might be getting our February dragon. So I'm guessing it's gonna be something to do with Valentine's Day, with the hearts perhaps. Very curious to see what it's gonna look like. And once I get it, of course you guys gonna see it, but it's gonna be in my next video for February. And that's all I think I can tell you about this dragon. So there's just enough fabric on this piece left for 2 more dragons, and that's where the whole series is gonna end, because we started it in April. So February and March, it's what's left. So that's what I can tell you so far. I don't know how long this video is gonna be put together, but I hope you guys gonna do some good stitching or enjoy it watching it with some beverage or snacks. And February 1st started what is called Magical Stitches group, and we got sorted in our camps, and I'm in the Camp Gods. So we got our weekly and monthly stitchy and reading challenges. So I'm gonna have to sort that out, figure out what I'm gonna be stitching and reading for them. So you'll hear all about it in my next video. So until the next time, this was Jurgita, and saying goodbye. Iki.